Hi, I'm Mayford. Welcome to my YouTube. I've been meaning to do this for quite some time, and I'll also be getting a lot of questions about my journey, work, and just life in general. So here we are. I've grouped a few of your questions together to make it a little more seamless. So let's get right into it. Just a small note, I like to keep certain things and details private, but I'll share everything that I can to genuinely help you out. So about me and my age, I'm 23 and an ACCA member, and I currently work in finance. I'm building a life that balances both my career and personal growth at the same time. Question 2 is, am I Indian or what's my nationality? It's something that I get a lot. Yes, I am Indian, and I've grown up with a mix of experiences between Bombay and Dubai, which has definitely shaped a big part of who I am today. Moving on to my education and ACCA journey. Now, what did I study in university and what do I recommend? So I completed my bachelor's in commerce and industry with electives in entrepreneurship and taxation from Bombay, while also studying for ACCA alongside. Personally, I think starting ACCA early can be a great advantage, even right after grade 10, because it gives you more time to pace your exams comfortably. You can start with one paper at a time, focus on understanding the concepts rather than rushing through them, and within a few years you can easily complete the course. Now, what is ACCA? So, ACCA in the simplest terms is a professional qualification in finance and accounting. So if you want to get into fields like finance, audit, consulting, even corporate roles, ACCA is one of the paths that you can take. It's made up of multiple exams which test not just your concepts but also how you apply them in real life scenarios. And one of the biggest advantages is that it's globally recognized, which means that you're not limited to just one country. You can explore opportunities internationally as well. Next is ACCA versus CA. Are they the same thing? ACCA and CA are not the same thing, but they are quite similar in terms of field. So both lead to careers in finance, audit, taxation, and consulting. The main difference is that CA is more country specific, whereas ACCA is globally recognized and a bit more flexible in terms of structure and exams. So it really just depends on what kind of career path and flexibility you're looking for. Now we move to ACCA exams, exemptions, and strategy. The question is, did I take any exemptions? Yes, I did. I took 3 knowledge level exemptions, which were BD, MA, and law. I appeared for FA because it helps in developing a strong financial reporting base, and it's directly related to FR in the skill level, and it supports SBR and AAA in your professional level. However, I'm really glad that I didn't take any exemptions for my skill level, and I've seen students do so and get stuck in the B level. Let me tell you that 70% of the portion from skill level is extended in your P level. And if you didn't know this yet, FR builds into SBR, AA builds into AAA, FM builds into AFM, PM into APM, and TX into ADX. So if your fundamentals at the skill level aren't really strong, it can make the B level significantly more challenging. Personally, I wouldn't recommend taking skill level exemptions, especially if your goal is to be really confident in the advanced papers later on. Now about integrated course. Integrated courses can be great for saving time and helping you focus more in ACCA. However, like I mentioned, I would still recommend being mindful about exemptions, especially at the skill level, because a strong foundation really makes a difference later on. So if you do opt for an integrated course, I would suggest keeping your fundamentals strong and not over skipping key papers. Now, the most asked question was about my study routine and my exam strategy. My study routine was quite structured, especially because I was managing it alongside work. I enrolled with a coaching institute, and my weekends were mainly dedicated to lectures. So I personally preferred recorded lectures over the live ones because it allowed me to go back, rewatch concepts until I was completely clear. And I would usually dedicate around 4 to 5 hours per subject over the weekend. So if I was preparing for 2 papers, that would be roughly 10 hours across Saturday and Sunday. But then during the weekends after work, I would spend around 1 and 2 hours revising whatever I had studied over the weekend. And once I revised the topic, I'd go to the study hub, and attempt practice questions related to it just to make sure that my understanding was solid. I followed this cycle consistently until my syllabus was completed, which is usually about a month before the exam. Then as exams got closer, I shifted my focus more towards practice. I moved to solving questions from the exam kit and understanding how answers are structured, because a lot of the themes tend to repeat. And closer to the exam, I made sure to attempt at least one mock, even if I didn't feel fully prepared. I genuinely believe mocks are my non-negotiables. And at the same time, I made sure to reset myself. Once a week, I'd step out, go somewhere quiet, like the beach or an open space, just to disconnect, clear my mind, and come back with better focus. So that's about my study routine. Is studying ACCA stressful, and is ACCA hard? Yes, it can be quite stressful, especially during exams. During my exam times, I just stay completely from work and study for long hours, sometimes even 12 plus hours a day. It was exhausting, and there were days where my body felt like I was gonna pass out. I do also went quiet on social media during that time. I was never alone, however. I had the right people around me, and through it all, I stayed consistent with my prayers, did my best, and trusted the process. And here we are with my membership. So yeah. Now, how to clear ACCA? ACCA is not about being the smartest person in the room. It's more about discipline and prioritizing your goals. So treat it like a serious commitment. Study regularly, practice questions. Also accept the fact that there will be seasons where you have to sacrifice comfort for progress. Most importantly, also don't compare your pace with anybody else's. Your timeline is yours only. Now we move to the next segment that's about career and jobs. A lot of people are wanting to know what's my role and what do I do in my current job. My role as a finance head is quite 360 in nature, but to break it down into key areas, first is internal audit, where I focus on evaluating processes and building more efficient and scalable systems. Second is financial advisory. I work closely on business expansion, strategy, and investments. Then there's coordinating with external auditors, tax advisors to ensure compliance. Finally, overseeing the overall financial operations of the company, making sure everything runs smoothly. But overall, it's a very holistic role. A lot of you have asked me if I've always been in Dubai, or how did I move to Dubai, and how did I got a job in Dubai. So this wasn't something that happened overnight. I've always been traveling between Bombay and Dubai, as I have family in both places. So I was already quite familiar with the environment here. When it came to work, a big part of it was building the right network over time. I think people often underestimate how important that is, because opportunities don't always just come from applying. They do come from connections you build over time and how you position yourself. And of course, once the opportunity comes, you need to have the right skill set to actually deliver and grow into that role. So for me, it was really a combination of preparation and being in the right circles at the right time. Now we talk about Big Four versus a mid-sized company. Which one's better? And what's my personal recommendation on this? Now, Big Four firms are great for exposure and learning, especially early on, but mid-sized companies often offer you a better pay, more responsibility, and sometimes a healthier work culture. So ideally, it's not about choosing one forever. It's about knowing what you need at each stage of your career. So I would personally recommend that you start off by working in a Big Four company, and then later you can transition into a mid-sized company. Next is, how do I balance work and life? Honestly, it's not really about doing everything perfectly, but about planning it correctly. I do weekly resets where I plan out my work commitments, gym days, content time, and even my personal plans. Work definitely can get overwhelming sometimes, but one thing I don't compromise at all are my workouts. It's my way of prioritizing my body and mental health. I'm also very organized, and I live by my Google Calendar. Everything goes in there. Work, gym, content shoots, family time, and if it's not scheduled, it usually doesn't happen. To be very honest, when work gets hectic, sometimes content does take a backseat, and I do lag sometimes, but I'm lucky to have such an amazing community. Talking to you guys through stories keeps me connected and reminds me why I love creating in the first place. So yeah, few questions about mindsets and reflections. This one's what keeps me going. What keeps me going is the idea of building a life that I'm proud of, and it's not just professionally but personally as well. Next question is things no one tells you. So things no one really tells you is that it can feel lonely at times. Everyone sees the results but not the quiet effort behind it. And also life isn't perfect all the time. There are bad days, but they're just that, bad days. You reset and you keep going. So that's pretty much it. Wrapping up, I just want to say if you're on the journey to build your life right now, or even just starting out, you're not behind. Take your time, stay consistent, and build something that feels right for you. Hope this video helped you out. I'll see you guys in the next one.